I'm with Darrell Issa, Republican congressman from California, and he's the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee and has been one of the driving forces in pushing this investigation and in, should we say, inviting Akio Toyoda. Inviting is the polite word for it. Well, tell us what you hope to get from him at these hearings and why it's important to hear from him as opposed to Jim Lentz or Mr. Inaba.
Well, one of the reasons we really did invite Akio Toyoda is that he's the only person that can speak for a global enterprise that has problems in getting problems here or problems in Canada addressed quickly at the real R&D sites, which are often outside the U.S. And it took a little pushing, but we believe that he's doing the right thing, that his pledges he will make to us to change going forward are every bit as important as the oversight of what went wrong in the past.
Well, one of the questions I have, and you've been looking into this, I've been looking into this, is the corporate structure of Toyota. Explain where you think there may have been breakdowns between Toyota in Japan, Toyota sales in your home state of California, and then Toyota North America and its operations and relationship with regulators.
Well, first of all, one of the challenges is that, candidly, Japanese run all the divisions around the world, and that's the only, it has to bubble up to that person, and they have to go back to Tokyo, and they have to bring it up at a high-level meeting. There isn't a structure to have at a low level a safety concern bubble up through a process separate. Now, that contrasts with the Toyota way on the production line. Any production worker can and does pull the lever to stop production if they see a bad part.
They can pull a cord.
Absolutely. So they can stop a bad part going down the assembly line, but nobody has the equivalent power to stop what seems to be a pattern of dangerous behavior in a car that's already produced.
Was it willful?
No, I don't believe it was willful. Nobody commits suicide with their own company's dollars. $31 billion has been lost just in stockholder value at Toyota. But it was a type of arrogance to think that because you make such a good car, you don't have to pay as much attention to safety flaws that do occur.
And yet you all have subpoenaed documents from a former lawyer that he says show a pattern of hiding safety defects. Do they show that to you?
We have seen what you would call a pattern of hiding. This is not an Akio Toyoda pattern of hiding, but it's a culture that says this problem shouldn't come out because we don't admit.
Who's to blame for that?
The chairman is to blame if it doesn't change now. And obviously, a culture that built up was a bad culture. But let's understand one thing. A similar culture exists at many auto companies, and part of what NHTSA has to do is make changes that cause changes to happen in the whole process of all the major auto companies.
I spent part of this week at Toyota's biggest plant in Kentucky, and there were concerns from the people who live there, from the lawmakers who represent areas with big Toyota plants, about the jobs in their district, that these investigations are going to hurt a big economic contributor to the country. What do you say to that?
Today, Toyota's domestic sales were about half what they were just a couple of months ago. So Kentucky, North Carolina, Georgia, and upcoming Mississippi are all going to suffer until the American people have a confidence that the car they buy coming off the production line, if not right, will be made right and made right quickly.
Can Congress separate out this investigation of Toyota when we, the American people, are the majority owners in GM, and many people in Congress, including, say, the chairman of your committee, have close relationships with the UAW and with Detroit?
There's no question that the unions do not want us to be fair to Toyota because it's a non-union organization. But I'm going to be just as strident, if you will, on General Motors, an American asset, literally, for the fact that they have to do a turnaround. They have to do it quickly because we've invested a lot of money. I'm not going to let good money be put after the money we've already spent if General Motors doesn't make real changes. And in General Motors' case, it's fundamental quality and price competitiveness that they have to address. Where Toyota has that, what they have to address is a culture that's too slow to react when there are mistakes.
After the Ford Firestone process, after those recalls, the investigation, we saw Congress passed the TREAD Act, much stronger penalties for NHTSA, civil and criminal penalties, the ability to levy pretty heavy fines. Do you think there will be legislation coming out of these investigations?
I hope not, because NHTSA absolutely has more authority than it ever uses. It has authority it hasn't used. It has ability to demand auto companies do more than it's done. What I want them to do is use the power they have, and if they request more funds or authority, it's got to be about gathering global databases. You know, NHTSA doesn't really know about the Prius activities in Canada and Japan. They should. They should be looking globally and going back to the auto companies. That's more a database authorization than it is new authority. They can shut down every auto company with the current authority.
You all have also asked for folks from NHTSA, both current and past, to come to these hearings. Do you think NHTSA is at fault in not recognizing some of these patterns?
I always like to say that failure to act is somebody's fault. Whether it's NHTSA's fault that for more than a decade they haven't really made the changes that would cause them to be more proactive in finding safety faults. I blame the Bush administration, and we'll have them before us. I blame the year in which President Obama has not named and gotten on the job an administrator.
Well, his first nominee was blocked by Congress.
Well, blocked by a Democratic Congress. So the fact, though, is that, you know, getting in a timely fashion the right person in needs to happen. But that's not really the cause of the problem. The cause of the problem is that this is a bureaucracy that for more than a decade has simply been allowed not to get the job right.
We got 30 seconds. Their budget request is flat for next year in the president's budget. In the office that does these investigations, it's very small. Should they have more money?
$18.4 million is maybe enough to leverage the $86 billion of R&D, but not the way they're doing it. So
they've got just more than over 9 for defect investigation.
For defect, the portion of it. But the entire budget, including data collection, may be sufficient, but only if they make real changes. And I'm going to be talking to Secretary LaHood about his vision to see that that agency changes and then that the funding follows it.
All right. Well, we will look forward to your hearing on Wednesday with Akio Toyoda and a large cast of characters. Congressman Issa, thank you very much.